Hey everyone, I'm Chris with Clutter Reduction Junk Removal in Southeast Florida. We are at a senior living facility right now giving an estimate, and I just want to go ahead and show you how I like to give my estimates when it's not all straightforward boxes and blocky items and you have a little bit of a mixture. Now, this is a senior living facility, so there's nothing crazy in here. Sometimes there could be, but for the most part, it's a pretty straightforward process, and it's kind of like a college dorm in a way, so you could have a lot of stuff, but it's usually not going to be like a hoarder house or anything. Although we have had one or two of those like that. So just gonna real quick show you how I price things out as far as volume goes, and then how much I determine it would be in my truck. So here we go. So coming in the front, the first thing I do is make sure to check all closets. This is basically just one bag of clothes, a couple of little knickknacks, not a big deal. You go in the bathroom, make sure to check everything. You have anything on the counters, you have that, anything in the medicine cabinet, anything down in the bottom that you would need to take out. Check the showers, often you have things like this. So a couple of things to bag up, not a big deal. In here, you have a small breakfast table with 2 chairs, dresser, TV, a couple of wall items, recliner, walker, wheelchair, adjustable frame. So make sure you account for that. It's gonna be a little heavier than your typical box spring and mattress. And then you have a queen mattress, lamp, little nightstand, couple of knickknacks in the closet, and some pillows. Again, probably 1, maybe 2 bags for clothing. And then in the kitchen, you gotta check your cabinets. In the kitchen, not a whole lot, a couple of things here and there. There's usually not a ton of food in these places because they serve breakfast and lunch and dinner. So doesn't look like a whole lot here. But when I would do the job, I would make sure that all these cabinets are cleared out with the exception of anything we don't normally take, which would be like Drano or ammonia or bleach. You also have to check the fridge to make sure nothing's gonna be left behind when you do the job. People often don't think about the fridge at these kind of places, but if you had a bunch of food in there that's gonna spoil, it's gonna cause a problem. So you gotta make sure you clean that out. Now, getting into how we price the jobs. So if you're new to my channel, I have a couple of pricing videos you can go check out that kind of just give you a good breakdown of how to do things. And then also there's some pricing videos about how to come up with your own pricing. So I'm just gonna real quick figure out your own pricing, figure out how big your truck or vehicle is by measuring the width by the length by the height. You're gonna get a large sum of numbers. You're gonna divide that by 27. That's gonna give you your cubic yardage. So when you hear like a 40-yard dumpster, 30-yard dumpster, 10-yard dumpster, that is what people are referring to as the volume of how much room something takes up. So figure that out and then divide that by the cubic yardage, and then you can use that when you give your estimates, and I'll show you what I mean. Let's say you had a 12 cubic yard truck. A cubic yard is 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet. Think about a washer dryer as an example. This isn't quite 3 feet, but this is also a smaller unit. But typically a household washer or dryer or stove is approximately 1 cubic yard. And a refrigerator like this would be closer to 2. Again, this is on the smaller side. I'm 6 foot tall, and this comes up to like my chin. So 6 feet would be like up here. But that's approximately 2 cubic yards. So when you're looking at the items that you have, let's just pretend that's 2 cubic yards. This is half the height, pretty much the same width, 1 cubic yard. This dresser is not quite 3 feet deep, and it's a little more than 3 feet tall, and of course it's probably about 6 feet long, so you can go ahead and round up and say that's 2 cubic yards. This recliner, if you took the back off and folded it down, 1 cubic yard. This mattress, if you were to fold it in half like a taco, you're pretty much looking at about 2 cubic yards. The frame doesn't fold up the same way, but you could pop the feet off and turn it into a very flat piece. So that's kind of something that you just kind of factor into volume in general, just kind of round up with some numbers, because you're not going to be able to really give an accurate number for that. This nightstand, not even half of a cubic yard, so I would take this, add in that box and the 2 bags of stuff up here, and then call it 1 cubic yard. So you kind of just plug and play like you would when you are doing like a puzzle, and you kind of just add everything up. So now if I go through and say, okay, to get all the stuff in the cabinets, in the bathroom, the stuff on the table, the little knickknacks, the pillows, the blankets, all that stuff, the clothes in the front, let's just say I think I'm gonna fill up 10 bags, 10 trash bags. So 10 trash bags, if I were to fill them into a really big box the size of this refrigerator, would probably fill this up. So that's 2 cubic yards. I always associate about 10 trash bags to be 2 to 3 cubic yards, depending on what they're being full of. It's a big difference between a household 13-gallon trash bag and a contractor bag that can stand up this high. So for household trash, I would say about 10 bags is about 3 yards, 2 to 3 yards. Contractor bags, probably closer to 4. So if you have a 12 cubic yard trailer or truck, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the knickknacks plus the stuff in the bathroom, let's just go ahead and call that 6. 7 for the chair, 8, 9 for the bed, 10 for everything right here. Wheelchair walker fold up, let's just say those with the chairs, we'll call that 11. So when you give a quote to the customer, you would say, you know, we think it's going to be about 3/4 to a full load, because of course you can fit things in, maneuver it a little bit. Most trailers and trucks, unless you're enclosed, you're going to go above the wall. It's just kind of common gesture. Most people don't charge for it, but some will call a capping fee. It's up to you what you want to do. I'm not super picky about it. As long as it can close my tarp on it and it's safe to drive, I don't mind. But for the most part, all of this, when you get to standing items up in your truck, you're going to lose some of that top volume. You're probably looking at 3/4 of a load. And then I would tell the customer 3/4 to a full load, just in case you're a little wrong and maybe it is pretty close to a full load. You don't want to round down and lose money every single time, because that adds up. So I would just factor in the fact that you have to walk a really long ways and you're going to have to sit here and do bagging and whatnot, and go ahead and call it a full load. So determine your pricing first, and then that's an idea for volume. And if you want to charge extra labor for having to bag up the small items in the cabinets, that's up to you. I do it personally. We charge for extra labor for places like this when we have to do a long walk down an elevator, walk out of the building, and then walk out to the truck. So we'll charge extra time, we'll charge volume, and then we charge for every 10 bags that we have to bag up, no matter what it is, we charge a flat rate fee. And that covers the time and the cost of the bags. So that's what we personally do. So it turns into a 3-step process, but we'll charge it as just one price. And that's how we handle the majority of our jobs, unless it's a clean out. Then we just flat out say, hey, I think this is gonna take an additional 3-4 hours. So that's gonna be charged. So hopefully that guy gives you guys an idea. And if you have any questions, comment down below. And if you're looking for pricing videos, search my channel for junk removal pricing. I have quite a few, and in my opinion, they are pretty well done. So check them out, and hopefully that helps.